What up? I'm Bea and welcome to my channel. I'm so excited for today's video because we're going to be reading another scary story, hopefully. Do my fingers work? Hopefully it'll be super scary, from the Reddit thread No Sleep. Thank you so much to Steven for giving me permission to read his story. I'm really excited about it. And if you watched the last video I did doing this from Halloween, I'm still waiting to hear back from Max Voynick to see if we can read part 2 of his super spooky CB radio story, so we're gonna have to wait on that. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and see what we can get into with Steven. And just a side note before we get started, the link to his original story and to his YouTube channel will be in the description box, so if we read this and it's super good, make sure you go over there, show him some love, tell him he's creepy and you like him, whatever. But let's go ahead and get reading. This story is called My Girlfriend Bought Me a Book Called The Devil's 3 Rules for Cooking People. I really wish she hadn't. And the username on Reddit is Lighthouse Horror, so should be pretty good. So, how do you like the book, George? I stared down at the brightly colored title. The cover looked professional enough. A devilish red figure grinning happily while wearing a white apron and glimmering chef's hat. The tall creature seemed very pleased as he readied himself to plop a human head and a cup of garlic into a nearly overflowing pot in the center of a regular everyday kitchen. The Devil's 3 Rules for Cooking People in titles. My girlfriend began to laugh as I held the book up awkwardly so that my family members could get a glance at the gag gift. It's lovely, I said, rolling my eyes. Looking around, I could tell my father got a kick out of it, while my mother didn't seem too thrilled. She had taken her normal dose of Valium an hour or so earlier, and she was sort of there, but not. What a disturbing title, she said, not to anyone in particular. Before I could put it back down among my other birthday presents, my girlfriend Bella continued, "Aren't you going to open it? I've been waiting all week to read what's inside." I frowned. It was my dad's turn to chime in next. "Aw, come on, read it then. What's the first rule?" Picking back up the book, I casually tried to open it without success. Strange, the pages wouldn't even budge. After a few moments, I noticed the curious words that looked to be carved into the back cover. Well, obviously they weren't carved. They only gave off that odd appearance as if the same red devil from the cover had sharpened his claws to perfect points and then taken time out of his busy day to engrave the book himself. This is what the words said. "To open the book, you must say the magic words," I read aloud. My dad chuckled. "Magic words? Probably something like, 'I give you the soul of myself and my family.'" Click. The book unlocked. "Are you serious?" I said. "Dad, what the were you thinking?" "Watch your mouth," my mother said blankly, her Valium high stopping her from realizing the shit that he had just gotten our entire family into. "What does the book say, George?" my dad asked, trying to hide the slightly worried look on his usually fearless 52-year-old face. "I'm sure it's all part of the joke," he said, more I think to himself than the rest of us. I flipped the book to page number 1 and my jaw dropped as I began to read aloud. "Hello, George." Ugh! It says, "Hello, George and family. I'm so thrilled that you've not only purchased my book, but given me your souls as well. You won't be sorry. Please turn to the next page for recipe number 1, the devil." Ew! "Okay, Bella, this shit's not funny anymore. Where did you buy this? Tell me this is all a joke." But the color was gone from her face as she checked the book for herself. "Amazon," she whispered. I looked at her in disbelief as she continued. "It was in my suggested." "Do you just buy everything that shows up on screen?" I asked. "Not everything," she replied. "Keep reading," my dad interrupted. So I did, almost vomiting as I flipped to the next page. "Hello, George and family. I thought an illustration would help as I explained the rules for turning any regular everyday Joe into a delicious treat. Rule number 1, always hang them upside down from the ceiling, 10 to 14 days before getting started with the dismemberment. It softens the meat. The devil. Should I be doing like a spooky voice for the devil? Because that sounded kind of professional. No, that's too much. I did indeed vomit then as I looked closer at the visual before me. There was a painting showing the family that lived just down the street. There was Mr. Jones and his wife, daughter, and 2 sons all hanging upside down from the ceiling of what looked like, yes, upon further examination, I'm sure of it, their kitchen. Though the picture was frozen, the devil's smile seemed to be directed out of the book towards me, while he looked to be sharpening a far too long knife in preparation. "Call the police! No, a priest!" I yelled, throwing the book onto the floor and trying to stand, but I couldn't. Some invisible force pushed me back down into my chair then, and I saw that my parents and girlfriend were unable to move as well. The book flew back into my hands and opened to the following page, this time showing the next stage of the cooking preparation. "Greetings, George and family. Rule number 2, always make sure to buy more pots than needed to collect the blood after you slit their throats. You'd be amazed how messy it can get, and you don't want to miss collecting any of that much-needed human blood. Believe me when I tell you, it tastes even better than angel blood. Your pal, the devil." Gross. "Yep, we're all gonna die. Good going, Dad," I said as I looked around at my helpless family. "Me? Your girlfriend is the one who bought the goddamn thing," he replied. The 2 of us looked over at Bella, who was now in a state of complete shock. "It was in my suggested," she said again. "On Amazon, we know." The book turned to the next page as the 4 of us watched in complete horror. We had never been this scared in our lives, and how could you blame us? The terror in our home was almost palpable, and it was a miracle that none of us had experienced a heart attack or passed out under the circumstances. Good evening, George and family. This brings us to the 3rd and final rule. Rule number 3, always induce a state of fear in your chosen meals before getting started. I found over my storied time in existence that a good 15 to 90 minutes of terror works wonders in bringing a wholesome flavor into all recipes except pasta. See you soon. I'll be heading over to your place after I finish up with the neighbors. I think I'll start with your girlfriend first, as I think she would go lovely with a fresh batch of gingerbread cookies. If you'd like to know my recipe, feel free to ask me when I arrive. Your source of torture for the rest of eternity, the devil. "What the hell do we do now?" I asked, looking anxiously towards my parents. "I got us into this mess," my father said, "but by God, I'm going to get us out of it." My mother rolled her eyes. "I'm sorry, George, but your father can't even change a flat tire. Something tells me he's not going to be able to outsmart the devil." Mean. Her face became more serious. "Sweetheart, we are all going to die." "We need to burn it," my dad said as he looked around at the 3 of us. I can't tell you exactly how I somehow knew that was the wrong choice, but I did. A wave of clarity and even perhaps wisdom washed over me for the first time in a long while. I understood that there was only one way out of a deal with the devil, and something as cheap as burning the book wasn't going to get us out of such a biblical circumstance. "We have to pray," I whispered. But no one paid any attention. My father and the rest of them focusing all their energy on trying to move their bodies again. If I just get out of this poof, the spell broke. My girlfriend Bella and my father standing up together. "Light the fireplace, George," my father said. "Do it," he continued. I rose from my own chair and tried to light the pilot. Before I could even process what was happening, some invisible force pulled Bella into the kitchen, the decorative old wooden door closing behind her as she screamed, "Bella!" I could hear the sharpening of knives. I slammed up against the door, trying desperately to make my way inside the kitchen. Maybe it was my imagination, but I swear I could hear the devil whistling cheerfully as the sound of metal on metal grew louder. Slamming into the door harder and harder, I had to get to her before it was too late. "Hold on!" And then it was over. the house turning quiet again, and the only sound existing was something else. The powerful turning of pages as they crumpled and popped and crackled in the now roaring fire. My father stood directly in front of the fireplace, his dark eyes watching carefully. "It's over, George." The kitchen door opened easily enough then, and I found Bella alive, but hanging from the ceiling just like the book had said. There was the biggest pot I had even seen placed directly below her, and a shimmering 3 feet long knife sat precariously balanced at the very edge of the kitchen counter. "Hold on, babe," I whispered. "Ew!" I got her down after a few minutes with the help of my mother and father, and then the rest of what happened is, well, a blur. We never called the police or a priest or anything. We must have known where that crazy road would have taken us. Like I said, my memory isn't too great about what followed. All I know is we burned the book and we survived. I'm not even sure how much time has passed since. All I can tell you is the 4 of us are sitting together again in that living room, and I'm preparing to open my first birthday present. I wonder what it is. My mother must have taken her Valium again because she looks even more faded and distant than usual. But then again, so do my father and girlfriend. And why is it so hot in here? Oh my gosh. Okay, so I wonder if because he pledged their souls to the devil and they didn't do what he said, now they're living in like a purgatory, but like a loop of everything until they get it right. Crazy. That was a really fun story. Last week, the ones that we did were really spooky and kind of haunting, but this one is a little bit more fun and weird and creepy. So, I mean, I liked reading both types of stories, and you never really know what you're gonna get because you and I were reading them together for the first time. So, it's really fun. I think this is a super entertaining thing for us to be able to do together, but let me know down below if you like hearing the stories, if you like just having the one story per video, or if you liked what I did last week where there was 2 because that made it really long. I want to do whatever you want. Let me know in the comments below, like I said, what your preference is, and then I can kind of tailor these to what you prefer. But that is all I have for this video. Thank you again so much to Steven for letting us read your story. Like I said before, the link to his YouTube channel and the original post are going to be in the description below, so go over there, tell him he's weird, tell him he's creepy, and that you really liked his story and that we appreciate him letting us read it. That is all I have. If you would like this video or subscribe to my channel, I would be so appreciative, and if you have already subscribed, thank you so much. I appreciate you. You're amazing, and I love being able to just hang out and read scary stories and talk about whatever with you, so thank you for that. All that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Thanks so much for watching, and remember to go out there and be the voice of reason in a world full of crazy. Bye.